Oh, what? Were you expecting Josh? No. Welcome to MCM. I'm Roy. I'm hosting this evening. Welcome, all of you marvelous monsters. And this week, as normal, well, it's not exactly normal. I'm joined by Chip. How are you, sir?
I am fantastic. How's everybody doing?
Pretty good. A little bit of a switch up this week. Oh,
Yeah, a little bit of a change here. It's all good.
and as always, our host of the TMA network, Josh.
Hey,
How are
you're
you
doing
sir?
great, Roy. This is awesome. I'm loving seeing you host this show. This is
he
wonderful.
is here.
Oh, sorry, but
Yeah, I didn't mean to throw everyone off. It's good to have a little bit of change, and I figured let's do it from my point of view this week.
Yeah,
So,
that sounds wonderful to me. To be honest with you, it's always good to change. I think next week you're gonna host again, but then maybe the week after that we're gonna have Chip do some hosting. So.
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I know we got a special surprise next week, so
Yeah.
I do want to mention too. This is our new time. This is our new day and our new time for MCM. We're gonna move from Mondays to Wednesdays. We're gonna stream Wednesday nights, 8:00 Mountain Time, 9:00 Central Time, 10:00 Eastern Time, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Reckon Ixie, you got it just fine. Time zones are a little messed up, but hey, you're here. That's what's important. We appreciate you. And I normally stream on Wednesdays, and we're swapping around. It's not really, a big deal. And I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. It's a new change of pace. And honestly, like you said, editing will be so much easier because of this, right?
Absolutely. I mean, for everyone all around, I think it's going to be nice. For the network itself, too, this summer, there's so much going on with, we're going to have a different show every day of the week, basically, for TMA. So it's pretty nuts.
Also, for those of you who didn't know, Disney changed the timing of their show drops. So we will actually be reviewing Loki the day of the drop. How about that? You get first reactions, you get, first impressions before anything hits online. So, I am stoked, especially to see Chip, stumble over his words in arguments.
That doesn't happen.
You aren't going to have time to rewatch these
news.
Episodes.
Yeah, you're going to have to watch them at work. That's what I'm going to have to do.
Oh, man, we're going to have first viewing at 3 in the morning when it comes out. 2 in the morning when it first drops. Yeah. We'll have our first viewing. Probably get half of viewing in the morning while I'm getting ready for work. Finish that viewing up during lunch. Then maybe squeeze one in right before the show. So we'll get 3 viewings in. It'll be fine.
So needless to say, we're pretty excited about Loki.
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
Speaking of Loki, we do have a few things to talk about. I think that is a great lead-in for our daily dose of the news.
And now it's time for Marvel News.
So, have you ever tried to explain Marvel to someone who doesn't get it and is super confused by it?
A couple times. Yeah. A couple times.
I use the Always Sunny meme where Charlie's talking about Pepe Sylvia. I got boxes of Pepe.
Yeah, people you get that one question from someone that's like, I've never watched a Marvel movie, or I've watched one Marvel movie. What's the story about? And you're
and it's funny. I've never had that issue with Marvel, but I've had that issue with Star Wars or Lord of the Rings because my boss has never seen either of them.
Really?
Yeah, never seen any Star Wars movies. never seen any of the Lord of the Rings or read any of the books, and I honestly I don't know how I can work for someone like that, but he's a great guy.
Sinner. Yeah, that's
So, all right, here's the thing: is Thor of Love and Thunder recently wrapped, right? Well, there is an article online that we just found out that Sam Neill has no idea what's going on during the entire series. I don't know if you guys have heard this at all, but yeah. So in an interview, Sam Neill said, I've never understood any of the Thor films. In fact, the whole Marvel universe is a complete mystery to me. I mean, I was standing beside Jenny Morris on the set of Thor Ragnarok, and I said, do you know what planet we're on? To be honest, I was completely baffled. I came back. I was baffled again. I did my bit. I didn't know who we're playing, who exactly, because they're sort of swapping roles.
Oop. And there's the really big thing about that interview, I feel like.
Yeah.
Is that they're swapping roles. So does that mean Sam Neill is playing more than one character? Does that mean that Thor is going to be two different characters? Like, are they all swapping because they're in different universes? Because of the multiverse, maybe?
Yeah, it's it raises a lot of questions with Loki because of we're getting a lot of hopping time-wise. And we also know that Chris Hemsworth's brother is playing Thor. Matt Damon is reprising the role of Loki, and Jenny McCartney is playing Hela in this. And Sam Neill is reprising his role as Odin. Or fake Odin.
Yeah. I mean...
Did you watch Thor, was it Thor 2? When they do the play with Matt Damon?
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a setup for another play where it's the same actors playing the same people, but then they're bringing in Hela in their little story. You know what I mean? Like they're performing for the king or whatever.
I'm betting they're reenacting the events of Ragnarok and maybe the events of the Infinity War as well, because gosh,
and
I'm forgetting the name. Is it Niflheim?
I think it's Niflheim.
Yeah, the Dead Star, where the dwarves made weapons. Like it might be talking about that and the events of Ragnarok. It might be catching us up to how all the Asgardians are like on Earth now. So it's it's going to be like it's probably just them playing some catch up. The role swapping may be like in reference to the Jane Foster.
Yes,
possibly.
So okay. I do want to say real quick, if you hear us talking to anyone else on the podcast, we are streaming live. You can always join us on the various platforms that we stream on. Check out the Twist My Arm Network. You'll easily find us. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Jesse from Sudden But Inevitable and Rex and Ixie, both of who are in chat right now. And I just want to say thank you, Rex and Ixie, for the compliment on our intro. And Jesse says it means he doesn't understand the setup of his scene being a play. That's true, but I get the feeling that he honestly doesn't get the comic book lore. Some people going into these movies go into the movies for the paycheck. They don't care about what they're playing. They just want the paycheck. Money. So
just to clear it up too, it's sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. I would say it's Nita Valier. They go the Dead Star is Nita Valier.
Okay.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
And Rocket's like, that's a made up word, and Thor's like, every word is made up.
Oh, dropping truth bombs. Speaking of like, in reference to Thor rapping, did you see that Instagram post of Thor's arms? I mean,
Oh, dude.
Chris Hemsworth and Taika Waititi were in the picture too, but like it was a picture of Thor's arms. This
You mean
dude
Thor's legs?
is so big. Like, God, Chris
He-
Hemsworth got so big for this movie. It is insane.
It
But
is
it
actually
might
not
also
for this
be-
movie.
I was gonna say it might be for the Hulk Hogan movie that he's filming
Yes.
too, because he's got to get those 28-inch pythons, brother.
Well, he better work on those legs because those legs are twigs.
Yeah,
He's got
he's got-
basketball player legs.
His
Well-
little boy's legs are about as big as his, but his arms are
They
monsters.
are
Yeah.
huge.
He is really bulked up, and he is going to fill that Thor costume very well. On to other
Yeah.
news. Well, we got it. Unless you guys got something else to say on this.
I don't.
Rex.
I'm excited for Thor 4. Oh, and I also, before we get into corrections for this episode on next week, I want to just skip that. It was Thor 3, wasn't it? That Thor they were watching the play. It wasn't 2, it was 3 because they were reenacting the elf
events of
scene in 3. Yeah.
Yes, because Loki supposedly died in 2.
Yep.
You would be correct.
Blood and Thunder is Thor 4.
Speaking of filling costumes, yes, our live episode of the first episode of Loki review, I will be wearing a Wonder Woman costume.
Hey, what?
Oh,
Why are you doing that?
Because of an exchange of facts that are still pending
Oh my god. Just
clarification.
living in denial, aren't you?
They're literally
So
going to have to put out a
yes.
solo Sharon Carter movie called Power Broker, the Sharon Carter story, and then Roy would still be like, I think it's a scroll,
Nah.
guys.
Yeah, it's not real. No, I am doing this role because I called it wrong. And there's a lot of, I have such a hard time saying this, but yes, they have said that she is Power Broker. I am a man of my word, and I'm about to wear a bustier.
Oh, where's my Joker clip? I'm a man of my word.
It's going to be fantastic.
But as we're going on news, I got one question for you. How would you honestly feel about a live action Spider-Verse?
Down. I'm down.
I mean, I'll watch them.
You'll watch.
They're going to throw them at me. I'll watch them.
Yeah.
You know,
Dude, I
they're,
mean, the cartoon was so good. I mean, it couldn't.
Yes.
It would be hard to top that, but they could make something as good as that, if not better. You know, I mean,
look, they
I'm for
gave
that.
us garbage TV shows like Gotham and like
You
Birds
bite
of
your tongue.
Prey. Like,
okay, that was trash, but Gotham was
like-
awesome.
like I'm down for a Spidey verse live action. Like they'll do it so much better.
right.
They're already working on the first series. Cindy Moon as Silk. That's gonna be a badass
Yep.
one. That'll be pretty dope. Some AAPI inclusion there.
Have we talked about Silk before? Is that it's got to be a superhero,
Not-
right?
You know, oh yeah, she's a superhero. Maybe a cursory mention, but like, yeah, she was bitten by the same spider as Peter, and she is like another student. She's the same age as Peter, but she has spider powers as well. She's an Asian female, so it's gonna be Asian female spider girl. Yeah, her name's Silk. She's a pretty badass character. I think in the comics she develops a romantic interest with Miles. So we'll see how that develops.
So it's kind of the younger generation of the Spideys.
Mm.
Yeah. And if you go back and
Okay.
watch our Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, there is a student named Cindy, but
Oh, isn't she the?
Hmm.
She's the like the news person, right?
you know,
Is she the news person?
I forget. I have to go back and like rewatch. I'm just like Cindy is a classmate in those movies.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's the actress that they're gonna pick for this like series. But like in theory, that would be her. That would be Cindy Moon. So we'll see what happens there.
Jesse says if the cost of Spider-Man is more Venom movies, then no. I think the Venom movie was pretty good. I maybe I'm just I don't know.
If they can
Maybe I
keep the
just suck,
Venom
but I
symbiote
think
from talking, like, or they can pick like a different voice actor for that, that would be tremendous. I
Okay.
almost like I would have to do some research. I almost feel like it's Tom Hardy doing like a crazy monstrous voice, and he's just not a good voice actor. So like it sounds really lame, in my opinion. The Venom symbiote sounds like trash.
You want
it
him
is
back in a
Hardy.
Bane mask then?
Hardy plays
Yeah,
both
same.
Venom
dude.
and
Bane.
Just as come on. Anytime you give that dude like alter your voice, he just like clowns it up. Like, oh my god. Oh, surprise, Batman. Oh, I'm like Sean Connery, but older and in a diaper. You made a mistake. Like, and I can do that all day. Like, that dude is not talented. He's a good actor, but his voice acting talents is subpar.
So, Josh, I feel like you have read this article by the fact that you were stoked and jumped at it. So, what are your thoughts on it? Like, how far into this have you read?
I mean, I read most of it, but it's just I think a Spider-Verse, if they're doing it as a TV show, would be really cool if they did like a Defenders kind of thing, but better. You know, where they had Daredevil, Jessica Jones, all that, and they have, Silk and who else could they do? They could do any other. The Miles Morales Spider-Man. They could have a show called Miles or whatever, and then just at the end of it, have one series that has all the characters mixed together. I'm down with it. I am a fan of Spider-Man though, and especially good Spider-Man, and I have really enjoyed the latest Spider-Man movies.
Tom Holland.
Yeah, including the cartoon. So I'm all for it, man. And I think right now I'm just so starved for anything Marvel that like just give it to me. Please. Yeah. Just release it now.
Are you Marvel famished? Marvel starving?
Kinda.
So here's the thing with that. No Way Home, Sony has kind of put out a statement that, they're leading into possibly having their own Marvel universe. Now, back when Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out and the end credits rolled, you saw that they were building the Sinister Six. Now, so I believe it was the end of Venom, or was it it's the end of Morbius, or there's a scene in Morbius where you see Michael Keaton reprise his role as Adrian Toomes, the Vulture. And we know that Michael Keaton played Adrian Toomes in the Marvel Universe's Spider-Man. So they are kind of crossing the stream. And
there's that connection right there.
Yeah. So are we going to get Michael Morbius in Blade? Are we going to get the deal between Sony and Disney or Marvel opens up a lot of doors.
It's Disney. Let's call it what it is.
So Sony owns 900 different characters from the Spider-Man franchise, because let's face it, Spider-Man had a ton. They also own the rights to X-Men. And before that, Fantastic Four. So this deal for Disney opened up a lot of doors and a lot of revenue to Sony, who, let's be honest, after the Amazing Spider-Man was kind of struggling with their movies. And Fantastic Four was a flop. I mean, it was bad.
It was worse than a flop, man. I think that's why Disney doesn't want to touch that franchise right now, because they're like, we need to let it officially die. Like, it needs to be removed from history before we do anything with it.
And it's not even the actor's fault at all. Like, both times that they did a Fantastic Four movie, they had a fantastic cast both times, and it's just not. They just can't.
I heard a lot of it had to do with the studios.
Water.
I heard a lot of it had to do with the studios trying to make changes to the scripts and the way the director was doing things. So
I bet. Honestly, I feel like the new one that they're gonna make isn't really gonna suffer that. Feige has the vision, and if he if he lays out how it's going to go, that's how it's going to go, and it's going to be
Right.
awesome. So I'm on board for the new one. I haven't heard anything about casting, but on board.
Yeah, I don't know. This whole Sony Marvel thing is just amazing to me. I feel like Sony is kind of what started the whole domino effect that got the X-Men back over to Disney, that got the Fantastic Four back over them, because they were like, you know, fine, we concede. You can use Spider-Man because we're not making any money. So use him, see what you can do with him. We failed already and people don't like him anymore. So whatever. And then once Tom Holland came back in Civil War, it just blew up. Everyone was so excited about Spider-Man again.
Yeah.
And I think Sony really, really realized the partnership that they could have with Disney and like the money that they could make with them, because it's gonna be a lot, especially if they allow Feige to do what he's gonna do with all of these stories, not just the MCU, but also the SCU, the Spider Cinematic Universe. I don't know, but if he controls at least some of those stories and has this, like Chip was saying, the plan in effect to where everything is going to meld together, I think it could be one of the greatest cinematic events ever, as far as the culmination of all those characters.
You do a few movies, you give us like a Sinister Six movie, you give us like another couple Spider-Man movies, you give us a Silk series, you give us a clone, the Clone Saga, like give us Ben Reilly, give us Kane, like
there's a lot for
so much that they can do. Give us Craven, like you can give us a different Craven. I don't even care. Give us like a different Craven than you put in the movies. That's fine with me. But like give us Craven, give us Superior Spider-Man as like a 2-season arc on a Spider-Man show. Like, come on, man.
So Jesse says Spider-Man worked in the MCU because they skipped the origin, and I completely agree with that.
What was his origin again?
Don't start. I'll cry,
dude.
I'll cry. No,
but seriously though, we've seen that origin. It's just like Batman. If they put that freaking Batman origin in this new movie again, I might revolt a little bit. I might be a little upset and not watch another Batman movie, because every single different iteration of Batman has had his parents dying at the beginning. Every single one. Bro, we know what happened. We know why he is the way he is. We don't need to see it again. Quit wasting precious screen time on this bullshit that we've seen so many times. So yeah, I fully agree with Jesse.
Yeah, in 1989, when they put out The Batman, and we hadn't had a Batman property for like 30 years or so, 20, 30 years or so. Sure, we needed the background for that. Like the people without the internet that are just casual observers don't know his background. But nowadays, like you're like a 3-year-old kid knows how Batman became Batman. Like,
just like everybody knows Spider-Man now.
Yeah.
Although I do want to bring up this point. Jesse says new movie is Earth 2 going to be new origin. So I think that we just witnessed Spider-Man's actual origin according to the MCU. Yes, Ben Parker might have died in this origin, but it wasn't as tragic as Tony Stark dying.
Yeah.
When it comes to Spider-Man, I think Tony Stark took over the Ben Parker mantle in the MCU, and that is how they showed his origin. So we did watch Spider-Man's origin from Civil War to Endgame. It was all his origin story.
Yes.
And I really, really enjoyed the parallels that they had there with Ben Parker and Tony Stark. I really think that was, again, Feige's brilliant, man. Feige we trust with Marvel, and Filoni we trust with Star Wars.
We know in this series that we definitely got Ben Parker because he was mentioned. It just wasn't gone into detail.
Right.
With Tony Stark, that completely makes sense that they would do that because he already had a burden of responsibility, but he didn't know the scope of it. With Tony, correct. I think and the whole intergalactic aspect, that brought the scope of the responsibility full circle. And that's why during The second movie, was it not Homecoming? It was
Far From Home.
Far From Home. Or is that the last one? No Way Home is the last one. Far From Home. Yeah, you're right. I'm stumbling. All right. But here's the
Rumbling,
thing.
stumbling, bumbling.
So Far From Home, with that, we got the aspect of the after effects of Tony's death. And we saw how big it affected him. So yes, Jesse, you called it absolutely correctly to me. I believe you are right. So with that being said, and talking about the Sinister Six, we did get introduced to a new villain is coming, and that is Aaron Taylor Johnson, Kick-Ass. Quicksilver is playing Craven.
Is that confirmed now?
Yeah, it's been over every multimedia site and everything that he has officially been cast. And I believe it was on the actual Sony put out a statement about it too.
Yep, it is officially official that Aaron Taylor Johnson is playing Craven.
That's like a thing that's happening, I guess.
So let's go, Josh. Let's go with your thoughts first on it, because you seem to be bubbling over a little bit there, like you're ready to spout.
It just, I don't know. He was Quicksilver already. Like, I get it. Craven looks a lot different. Was this a Sony hire? Was this a Sony thing?
This is a Sony thing. This is
okay.
Not. It's still technically Marvel because they are co-working together. But, well, Craven was one of Spider-Man's worst enemies, Jesse, by the way. But yeah,
I just
not worst enemies, but like most deadly is what I should rephrase. What I mean was one of the most terrifying enemies he could fight.
Okay.
I just hope it's I hope it's a multiverse situation where Quicksilver, the original Quicksilver, runs into Craven, and they're like, wait a minute.
Well, maybe with the multiverse of madness, but
what if Wanda runs into Craven at some point? Like, if they decide to mix all these together, she's gonna have another meltdown and make another Hex.
Have you watched the movie Tenet by chance?
No. I have not yet. That's one movie last year that I missed.
I haven't seen it either, but I've seen photos of Aaron Taylor Johnson playing a character in it. I didn't recognize him. Like, when they showed pictures of it, legitimately, he does not look like himself. He is bulked up. He's got that grizzled beard. He looks older. It just blew me away because, like, when I saw the preview for it, I didn't know it was him. So,
I mean, Hollywood magic, you can do anything. And Aaron Taylor Johnson definitely looked different from Kick-Ass to Quicksilver.
Yeah.
He like a completely different person. So, with that movie magic, and Craven doesn't, you do things to him, you give him the big lion outfit or the lion stuff, and all the
you give
hair
him extra bushy
stuff,
eyebrows, you give him like sunken in cheeks because he's got to have
see, and
big mustache.
There's my only concern about it is we got Aaron with a kind of Slavic accent for Quicksilver. I think it was Slavic, at least that area.
Well, yeah,
because it was
Latvian,
which and I'm just saying this because that's how it sounds to me, and I'm not good with accents, so I could be way off. Just throwing that out there. But
Eastern European,
yeah, he will have to apprise another Eastern European accent unless they retcon Craven.
I thought Craven was from Africa. I thought he was from South Africa. Am I wrong on that? I guess I could
find
be
out.
totally wrong. I'm looking up right now. Craven, the Hunter. Oh no, you're right. Volgograd, Russia. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it is Russian.
So and
Yeah.
now,
Okay. Looking at pictures with it, I mean, dang, that's a pretty badass outfit he's got over there.
Yeah,
And he could do it. You know, you give him enough facial hair, he could probably pull it off. I guess.
now, could you pull up the picture of him from Tenet?
Probably. Let me see.
Yeah, because show that to
Sure, I could
everyone
just
in
pull
the
up all the
chat.
pictures here. of
Well, let's
everything.
not pull everything up, but this picture specifically is what kind of changed my mind about it.
Is it this one?
Type in definitely not that one. Type in Tenant. Yeah, that.
Yeah, that's Quicksilver.
But yes, right there, he definitely doesn't look the same. He looks older.
Okay, so that was the picture. It's just side by
Okay.
side. Yeah, okay.
There's
I
one a
guess.
little bit below where he's wearing the beret.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah. See, I didn't recognize him looking like that, and that's
That looks very. Was he a Russian in that one too?
I have no idea. Like, I honestly haven't seen Tenet. I've seen the preview, but imagine how he feels watching WandaVision. Good one, Jesse.
I bet. Oh, man, I bet even if he did watch it, he's like, "Wait a minute, what the hell? Why'd they get that dweeb in there?" Ralph
Right.
Boner.
Now, do you either one of you have anything else on this topic that you want to say? Any feelings you need to get out? Do you just need to rage a little bit or anything like that?
Do you think you think they're gonna mix up Craven, Morbius, and Blade and all that? You think they'll do some sort of?
I think they're still planning the Sinister Six movie. I mean, they
Okay.
introduced Matt McGargan in the end of Homecoming, which was the Scorpion. He was the guy who approached Adrian Toomes. I mean, we have already been told in Far From Home we're getting Doc Ock. Shocker and Electro. Shocker is still out there. They're bringing in villains. So I think we're going to get an anti-hero squad, the Sony version of Black Bolts or Sony version of Suicide Squad as the Sinister Six.
They could do. I mean, Doc Ock. The original Sinister Six was Doc Ock, Electro, Craven, Mysterio, Sandman, and Vulture.
Mm. And
I mean, that's
Mysterio could still be alive. So
right. And I mean, that's a pretty big cast of villains from Spider-Man for sure. And those guys still couldn't beat Spider-Man.
I mean,
they're a bunch of wussies.
We do have a Sandman, and like we do have old villains coming back.
Yeah.
And just because nobody's mentioned Thomas Hayden Church doesn't mean that he's not coming back as the Sandman.
God.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't even think about that. He just kept his mouth shut, unlike everybody else.
And nobody else has mentioned him. So, just keep flying under that radar. Throw out all these other little hints about all these other dudes.
There's so many rumors floating around right now too. I mean, there's the rumor that I can't think of his name. Play the Green Goblin.
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe might be reprising his role as the big villain of Far From Home or No Way Home, but it's there's no facts to it that we know of yet. So,
what do you guys think about that? Would you be all right with Willem Dafoe being the big bad again?
I would. I think he killed it.
I don't know.
I think they could cast someone that looks more akin to the comic book role of Norman, but I feel like Norman's a pretty big villain. Speaking of which, villains, I think this is a good time to move into our next segment, which is
Yeah.
Villains Talk.
Ooh.
So this week, like our last episode, we did the top 3 Captain America movies. This week we are doing our top 3 villains. And yeah, so we will go into these with
Wanna do this?
let's
You wanna
go ahead.
You want to do this like we did last time? We start. Everyone does their third. Everyone does their second. Everyone does their
Yeah,
first.
why don't we do that? So you know what? I'll go first, and then we'll go to Chip, and then we'll go to Josh. So my number 3 spot goes to Kingpin.
Ooh, I like that.
And you would think, Kingpin is not huge because he doesn't have any large scale powers or anything. But to me, Kingpin is a great villain because he has no powers. He could be a real life guy. He easily controls everything from he's big. He has a traumatic storyline that builds his character, which, gives you sympathy for him at times, especially with his wife and kid dying in certain storylines. The effects of his father beating him and then him murdering his father. There's so much background to him being a villain. And I think the scary thing is that he could be a real life villain. Not just from comics, not just from movies. We have gangsters in the real world.
That's true.
So,
what did you think of the Kingpin from Daredevil?
Are you talking the Netflix version?
Yeah.
I thought is it DeSantos? No, that's his character from Law and Order, I think.
Vincent D'Onofrio. God, why do I know all this shit?
D'Onofrio.
Thank you.
I think he killed it. I think he was great, and he was very articulate in the way he portrayed the character. He did me proud. I enjoyed.
I think he was the goddamn
Daredevil.
truth, and I don't want to see another actor play the Kingpin. Like, he was so goddamn on point. Like, he slaughtered that role. Like the quiet rage. Like, oh man, when he like snaps and offs that dude's head with a car door. Like,
I was just gonna say that car door was. That's when you knew it was real.
Oh yeah.
At first you're like, oh, the Kingpin's kind of a. I don't know. I'd probably make fun of him in high school, and then he slams that dude's head in the freaking car, and you're like, oh. Never mind.
Okay, so Chip, who is your number 3?
My number 3 would be comics Thanos. Likes me some purple face guy. Like in the comics especially, like the Infinity Gauntlet storyline was kind of cool, but like more recently, he's had like a couple standalone graphic novels. He had his own standalone series, the Annihilation event, and then like the Annihilation sequel event. He's just a really cool character. The more they flesh him out and the more they dig into him and round him out, he's just a really cool character in general. So I really like comics Thanos.
Okay. All right. And Josh, your number 3.
My number 3 is going to be Venom from the 90s Spider-Man TV series. That little miniseries, the Venom miniseries, was one of my favorite things on TV. I always liked those miniseries. I liked the Green Ranger, that whole 6-episode arc.
Yeah.
I liked the Venom arc. There was the Phoenix saga in X-Men. All of those were incredible pieces of 90s art.
I feel like the 90s cartoons really had their story on point. Like they were actually trying to tell from the comics as opposed to a lot of these modern day, Avengers Assemble or X-Men anime or
no cap. Mask Phantasm is still better than crappy animation that Marvel puts out today. Like, DC needs to stay doing more animated stuff, and Marvel needs to like stay away from animated stuff.
Agreed.
It's just, oh man.
With that, we'll go to our number 2 spots. And I am going to say my number 2 is Magneto, Eric Lyncher.
Okay. All right.
So Magneto, the
Are
reason
you
I
saying
do
all
this,
around, or you picking
all
one from okay.
I'm picking all around because even in the movies, they delved into his past with the concentration camps and all that kind of stuff. And he is the type of, he's an anti-hero. Because there are times that he's a villain and there are times that he's a hero, and he inspires teams. He is a leader, and he is you can sympathize with him because of his past and the way he sees mutants being marginalized and outright taking, crap constantly. So he's doing it for his people. And I feel like Xavier is a good counterbalance to him. But I feel like Xavier is the reason why Magneto is so much more charismatic and invokes people to like him as an anti-hero. Even as a villain, you like him. So that would be my reason.
I can't argue with that.
So number 2, Chip.
I'm gonna roll with Killmonger, specifically Michael B. Jordan's turn as Killmonger. That Black Panther Killmonger was really cool. He was the best. Like, he was such a awesome villain, and Marvel suffers from like crappy villainosis a lot of the time. I was just disappointed that they did end up killing him off. But even in that was like, Killmonger being a badass and like giving his whole decolonizing speech. Michael B. Jordan's the shit. Killmonger
in an interview.
Awesome.
In an interview recently, Michael B. Jordan said also that if Marvel approached him to come back to the Black Panther franchise after T'Challa's death, that he would totally come back just, to pay respect to Chadwick Boseman, as well, outside of the movies.
He is coming back in the animated show, The What If.
Good.
He is reprising his role as Killmonger in the Marvel's What If, which
comes
may
out
be
soon,
what
right?
What if Killmonger won? That might be what that What If is. So we'll see there.
I could dig that.
Yeah.
All right, Josh.
I'm looking up when that comes out really quick. The What If series.
Okay.
It doesn't tell me. It's not. Oh, August 2021 consists of 10 episodes. Will be part of Phase 4 of the MCU, and a second 10 episode season is in development. Sweet, cool.
Nice.
My number 2, and I know I don't know what it is, but I love me some Green Goblin. And
is it comic version or movie version?
I love me some Willem Dafoe.
Out am I?
Yeah. Just as a kid, that was, I don't know, one of my favorite movies as a 12-year-old, 11-year-old, and I couldn't get enough of that version of the Green Goblin. I thought cheesy costume and all, it was still a ton of fun to watch the Green Goblin on screen. So
the mirror scene when he's talking to himself, I still get a little creeped out by the way his facial expressions just
it was perfect. It's in some ways I feel like that role should have scored him like a Joker role at some point. You slap some makeup on that dude, he'd be a perfect Joker.
You don't even need to do the extensions on the cheek for that, man.
Not even a little bit.
All right.
I won't even take a cheap shot at Heath Ledger.
So are we doing drum roll for number 1, Josh? Do you have a drum roll? That's good enough. So number 1 for me is Dr. Doom comics. There has not been a good representation in my mind in movies for Doctor Doom, but the comics, this man, he is, to me, he's more powerful than most bad guys out there. He's a sorcerer because he practices magic. He's a high grade scientist because he opposes Reed Richards. He has as much knowledge of technology as Tony Stark, and he is willing to make things happen regardless of killing, maiming, torturing, even taking hostages. He has a tactical mind to do more evil than most villains put forward in a standard comic. He is my number one. He is what I would I would go see a Fantastic Four movie if it has Doctor Doom and he's done correctly. Yeah. And I hate Fantastic Four.
See, again, they need to wait for those other ones to just completely die off before they can resurrect it, because they really messed up Doctor Doom in both of those movies. Again, the first Fantastic Four in the early 2000s was yeah. It's unwatchable now. When it first came out, it was fine, but you can't watch it now. And the second version of Doctor Doom was just wow. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right. With enough early Fantastic Four bashing, Chip, what is your number two? Or your number one? Number one, drum roll.
Number one should be no surprise. It's the Baron himself, motherfucking Helmut Zemo. He's a man with a plan. You don't need powers when you got a plan. Zemo is the future. You just wait.
You think so? You think he's gonna be like the next Loki in the phases?
I don't know about that, but
so you're saying he leader of Black Bolt or the Thunderbolts? Leader of Thunderbolts? I said Black Bolt.
Yeah, I mean,
is that a Thunderbolt watch? That's a Thunderbolt watch.
Thunderbolt watch. Thunderbolt to watch. Yeah, I mean, they could give him his own country at some point in the comics. It's his own country, and it's he establishes a sovereign nation for supervillains. So supervillains that are on the run, they go hide out there because he's not gonna extradite you because he's the Baron. So they have a legitimate nation, and it's pretty awesome for a minute there. Yeah, I'm all about this, Zemo.
I feel like Jesse makes a valid point that anyone who disagrees with Reed Richards in my book is a good guy.
I'm gonna have to send you in Avengers Academy at one point, Hank Pym is calling up Reed Richards, and he's like, "Hey, I need that shrinking device that Goliath had, because Goliath is dead, got killed by that clone of Thor." And he's like, "So I need that device. It's that Pym particle device that Goliath had." And Richards is like, "I don't know if I really trust you with that, Hank." They literally start butting heads, and Hank Pym tells Reed Richards, "It's on, bitch," and breaks into the Baxter building and steals his shit back because Hank Pym.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. I like that for sure.
Let's finish this out with your number one, Josh.
Where did I write that down? Oh, my number one, Thanos. And I would just say Thanos all around. I would say comics and the movies. He's been the most memorable. Even as a kid, when I barely read comics, I still knew about the Infinity Gauntlet. I still knew about the stones. He's always been a part of comic lore, whether or not you're huge into it. He's kind of a savage, he'll do whatever it takes to get to death or to complete his goal of wiping out half the universe. But in the comics, I feel like his motivations were a little odd, I guess.
Comics, you could say his tactics were even a little more brutal than we got in the MCU as well.
Oh yeah,
yeah, for sure. Tactics. I mean, in the MCU, there was a Reddit page dedicated to what Thanos was right or something like that.
Yes. Yep.
So in a way, the MCU painted him as like a
Messiah.
perverted savior, perverted messiah or whatever. That like, but whereas in the comics, like, yes, he snaps a bunch of people out of existence, but he also like messes with his own children, and worse than he does in the movies. You know, obviously, Gamora got, or not Gamora. What's her freaking name? The other one,
Nebula.
the blue one, Nebula. She gets messed up in the movies, but like in the comics, I mean, what
He burns
Thanos
her
does
to
to
a
her,
crisp.
yes, and keeps her alive. Like, whew, yeah. So
Burns up husk. Yeah.
yeah, and you know, I feel like he's always gonna be around as well. He's never gonna really go away. So
You made me think of the when you said Thanos was right. Made me think of when we were throwing around all those invincible memes. I don't know. I probably threw it your way, but like there was the one invincible meme where it's like Thanos is all beaten up and bloody, and Iron Man's doing the think Thanos. Why wipe out half of the universe when you could double the resources? Those killed me.
Oh,
I'm just like, oh man, I didn't think about that. Why don't you just double?
So while we're on the topic of villains and some of them being from comic books, I think that's a good segue into what have you been reading?
What have we been reading?
I got it. We're good.
All right. So how about this time, Josh? Let's have you take it first.
Okay, for sure. I have two. One for now and one for the end. My first one, I am continuing to read the Star Wars High Republic series that comes out on the Marvel Ultimate app. This latest issue was awesome. It introduced the kind of like a new villain into the world of Star Wars, called the Niles, kind of spelled like nihilist, or nihilist, whatever you say, but they're crazy, man. Like they're
worshippers of Darth Nihilus.
I'm not sure yet. They haven't explained it. They've just kind of shown what they do, and these Jedi kind of stumble on this ship that's covered in gas, which according to their legend, like the people of Nihilus like flood these ships with gas and then kill everyone on board and rob them blind. And so while they're looking through this thing, they're just finding all sorts of dead people, and like they find a giant dead hut, which is pretty cool. I don't know. It's been a very interesting story so far, and the High Republic has me hooked in the first two. I've only read two. There's only two of them, and I'm already hooked. I'm excited to see more of different Star Wars lore. Yes, they have Yoda in this. Yes, he is a part of this because it is 600 years or something before the present day Star Wars, quote unquote. So Yoda is just kind of a young lad at this point. I think he's like 200 years old, but he is a part of it, and that's kind of their missing link between the new Star Wars and the High Republic, you know. So I'm interested to see how much more they use Yoda and what actually happens in this series. It'll be pretty cool. That's all I got for that.
That's cool.
All right. Chip, what do you got?
So I read through this over the last couple of weeks. I read through a bunch of like non-canonical nonsense. I hit one of the Night of the Living Deadpools, and then I finished that one and just like skipped all the other stuff I was supposed to read chronologically and just read all the Night of the Living Deadpool stuff, and like the Deadpool kills the Marvel universes. They're all fun. They're all just like fun, bloody, violent reads. Non-canonical. They're just a good time. So I read those, and then
some what ifs, if you will.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And then really, I've been I sat down and I just finished rewatching season 2 of Stranger Things. I realized I had only watched once, so like I don't know how I haven't gone back and watched it again, but like this is actually only my second watch through of Stranger Things, and like it's just such a good show, such a good show. So yeah, it's worth a rewatch if you haven't rewatched it.
It is, and we're getting season 4 soon. So
Very soon. That's why that's
out
why I
there.
was prompted to do it again. I was like, oh, season 4 soon. Yay, yay.
I guess
So,
I should probably do that soon too. I haven't seen the yeah, I gotta watch that series all over
Yeah.
again.
Season 3 is fantastic. If you haven't watched
Mhm.
season 3 yet, it was good.
Yeah, I mean, I remember really liking it, but it's been so long that I just don't remember a lot of. I remember the mall.
That was season 3.
I think
yeah.
on it,
That's the plan.
honestly, my favorite part of that season 3 was the never ending story
Oh,
song.
absolutely, dude. I was
sang
like in
by the
tears because I was
two
laughing
kids.
so hard when that
Yes.
happened.
Yeah,
It killed me.
that's right.
So I am still reading the encyclopedia.
Nice.
There is a lot of things in there. So I'll go on 2 facts that I learned recently. One of them I'm saying because of the Eternals is coming out. And that was Dane Whitman, the Black Knight, has a weapon that is stronger than Mjolnir.
Interesting.
The Ebon Blade powers itself on dishonor, effectively, and non-noble intentions. So, well, Mjolnir only goes to those that are worthy and courageous and all that. The Ebon Blade becomes more powerful through cowardice, self-doubt, all that stuff. Greed, anger, it becomes more powerful. From what I understand, there is a point where and I might be remembering it wrong, and I don't want to say that if it's wrong. But he has definitely got a weapon that becomes more powerful the more he doubts in himself and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to go further into it because, like I said, I'm drawing a blank on the actual abilities of the sword now.
I might be confusing it with another weapon, but I believe that the Ebon Blade is like cursed. Like it's got a demon's sentience, and if it kills enough people, the wielder will basically become an avatar of this, or like he transforms into a demon or like becomes an avatar of this demon. I might be mistaken on that, but I think that that was another aspect of the Ebon Blade. So like he's very careful about not killing people because there's like a finite number. If he kills a certain number of people, he turns into this aspect of darkness, I believe.
It was created by Merlin during King Arthur's court. It is said that it can deflect any magical attack and is immune to magic. It can cut also through any substance, even piercing Iron Man's extremist armor in one swing. The sword is also indestructible. Let's see. I pulled it up because I can't leave it at just that.
I'm stoked about the Eternals, by the way. While you're looking that up, we are going to play the Eternals trailer at the end of this. As per usual, we leave you guys with the Marvel trailer the latest trailer. And I've watched this thing a bunch of times, and each time I watch it, I'm more and more stoked, just because of the ramifications that this movie could create. You know, like the main things they say, we never interfered with anything until now. What do you mean now? Are you talking about Thanos being now, or are you talking about because Captain America and Iron Man and those heroes are dead? Or is it because you're talking about a Skrull invasion? Like, why are you interfering now?
Right.
Maybe you're here to create the mutant gene.
Okay.
Well, I don't know.
So this is where I remember it from, is in the King of Black, the story of Noel, the symbiotic god. Noel and Black Knight go at it at one point, and Noel tells Dane Whitman, saying that from its forging, the ebon blade was only able to be wielded by those of impure of heart, only could bring out the true power of the blade, and increasing the sword's power the more evil the wielder is.
Interesting.
So
So it's basically the evil version of Mjolnir
thing with it then. That's what's up.
All right.
The other fact that I read was in 1977, Wolverine was not always meant to be a Canadian man. He was actually originally, the concept was to have a Wolverine actually mutate into part human like the Beast.
Huh.
So
some Animorph shit.
Yeah, dude, Beast's current design is kind of like is similar to what Wolverine was gonna be. Like,
yep.
Because they were like, we're onto something with this. So like, I don't want to abandon it entirely, but that's not what we want this character to like.
Yeah. So I believe they wanted kind of a gruff, not coppish feel, but Clint Eastwood vibe to a hero. So that's kind of where they changed it from the storyboards. So that is how we ended up with the current Wolverine. Is the storyboard concept guys were basically like, we already got Beast on the X-Men. Let's tone back this new guy, and let's make him Clint Eastwoody. And that's what they did. So we got the cigar smoking, foul mouth, booze drinking Canadian shorty that we got now.
The Wolverine.
Have you ever met a Canadian? They are so polite. They did not typecast him correctly.
So
I don't feel. I'm trying to think if there's ever a Canadian that I met that wasn't polite.
Don't you know?
Hey, buddy.
I lost my notes here.
I got you.
I think I had one more, and I'm gonna lead us into our next segment. And I believe we've all been taking part in this.
Mm-hmm.
So, what, about 2 weeks ago, a new show released on Hulu called M.O.D.O.K. And I've watched the whole series. I believe Chip and Roy have also watched the whole series. So I feel like we're just going to go from what we've been reading into M.O.D.O.K. talk. I really enjoyed this show as I don't know, I enjoyed it a lot, but it didn't necessarily fill that Marvel gap. It was more of, I felt like I was watching an Adult Swim show, which is fine with me because I love Adult Swim, and I love Robot Chicken, which Seth Green had a part in this. So he was, I think, the producer, something like that. But it was very much like an Adult Swim show, just with a couple Marvel characters, but an amazing voice cast. I mean, you got Patton Oswalt playing M.O.D.O.K. You got Ben Schwartz playing M.O.D.O.K's kid. You got what's the other guy's name?
Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion, thank you. Playing Wonder Man. He's in it. How did I forget that? I just did a whole series about Nathan Fillion. Yeah. But then John Hamm plays Iron Man. Sam Richardson's in this. John Daly's in this. Bill Hader's in this. Alan frickin' Tudyk is in this. Three Dick for the SBI watchers. John DiMaggio's in this. I mean, it's an amazing. Whoopi Goldberg is in this show. It is an amazing voice cast, and it definitely doesn't like
And Whoopi
disappoint.
Goldberg as
Yeah, and it
pound cakes.
pound cakes like
So great.
yeah, and it doesn't disappoint as far as like a casual viewer that's just looking to watch something fun that has some cool Marvel characters. Now, if you're looking for some sort of phase 4 storyline breaking into, you know, these Marvel movies, you're going to be disappointed. But for me, I mean, I know Roy has a little bit more to say, and Jesse actually left us a voicemail. I'm a little worried to listen to that, but we will play it here in a minute. Chip, what did you think about M.O.D.O.K?
So you remember when Family Guy did those 3 episodes of Star Wars? I feel like
Yeah.
I was watching Robot Chicken do the exact same thing, but for Marvel. Like you're literally just watching Robot Chicken, but I liked it. I thought it was really good. There were so many references. Like if you catch them, like they have so many deep references in that show. Like there's a ton of little like Easter eggs and like references. Like they go to like when they had
Give me a
Arcade
couple
and
because
the Murder
I kind
World.
of
Like oh my god, dude, Arcade's Murder World. Like that was fantastic. Like when they're going to all the bars, the bar with no name. That's like an actual thing from the comics where all the supervillains hang out.
10 pin.
oh
That 10 pit, like so many obscure dudes. Angar the Screamer. Come on, man. Come on. With my band Sweet Leg. You ain't got no sweet leg. It's okay. I'll sing it myself. That dude. Like so obscure. Like
and Ben Schwartz was awesome too as his kid. I don't know, he was an idiot, but he was funny.
Priceless. I really liked the finale. Like the finale was just like, oh shit. Like I don't know. Just like
That was the best part of the series.
Threw out so many ramifications in that last like episode, and you're just like, oh shit! Like I'm really excited to see where season 2 goes.
They threw out the whole season in that last episode, basically.
Yeah, the action, like I don't know, I liked the action sequences. Like when you got action sequences, they were pretty cool. Like the Monica M.O.D.O.K fight was fun.
Yeah, the super scientist fight.
It felt very Rick and Morty, like turning each other into other shit and then antidoting themselves. Like it felt very Rick versus Rick. Like I think that was an actual fight that happened at one point. Like it's just I liked it.
Yeah, man, and again, it did have its funny moments. It was a little stale at points, but I thought it was pretty good all in all. So and Roy has his things.
Yeah.
Take it away, Roy.
Do you want to play the voicemail first, or do you want me to just...
I was instructed to play the voicemail after you were finished.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Chip, you called it exactly right. It's Robot Chicken, except for you get tired of it after 5 minutes. The show is, to me, is awful. I mean, literally, hands down, the worst Marvel entertainment thing to date, and I would rather watch the new Spider-Man and Friends than watch this show. Okay, there were maybe one good joke to me in the entire episodes as it went by. Okay, episode 1, maybe one good thing. Lou, okay, yes, Lou was probably the funniest thing for the entire show for me. But it just, oh man, I just, oh my gosh. So,
were you expecting something else?
Yeah, I feel like you sound like you sat down expecting to like
I
came some big like
dude. I saw the preview.
Storyline moving shit. Like
I came into the show exactly with the frame of mind that watching the preview game is that we're watching humor from Celebrity Deathmatch in the 90s and Robot Chicken, and Seth Green's humor has not really improved in my mind, because even now going back and watching Robot Chicken hurts my head. So this this show, I literally could only handle one episode a night because my ears were bleeding from having my headphones on because I couldn't let my kids watch this either. And, you know, and I love Patton Oswalt. The guy is so funny, but this show, oh my, it literally knocked him down a peg on my to like. It's did a number on him, guys. His brain has done a confuzzle duzzle over this show. You are right. So, all right, in the comics, M.O.D.O.K is a serious villain, but in this, the thing I don't like is that the entire show is centered around a bad guy having a family, and the bad guy treats the family like shit the entire time. It's like he's not actually a villain, more of just a abusive piece of shit father the entire season that doesn't care about his family, could give one iota about them. And yes, he does slowly start to redeem himself through episodes, but and you find out his family's just as messed up as he is. And for me, the season finale, it didn't really even make sense, you know, that he wants to do what he wants in that last moment. I'm going to throw out a spoiler warning because obviously his family, you know, he kills his lets himself kill his family, then takes over the world to create M.O.D.O.K and then tortures his past self, which would kill himself. The show is it's stupid.
Whoa!
This show.
I think you missed the integral point where we explained that his past self is actually an anomaly from a redundant timeline. So, like, he still has his actual past self that's going to go up and grow up to be him. So he can do whatever he wants to this time displaced anomaly.
And I get that it's Loki and what we're going to be watching soon. I get it. And
you didn't like the Iron Throne?
They throw it out. They had to retcon that from earlier in the episode where M.O.D.O.K is like, oh, if I kill myself, you know, he talks about that earlier in the episodes that he's going to mess up the timeline. So then they retcon it like they forgot. Oh yeah, we're doing this in Marvel, by the way. So to me, the writing, I don't know. It's just,
I mean, I feel like he cared about
Marvel to date.
I feel like he cared about his family. He's just a supervillain. He's like focused on taking over the world and shit. So he lets his like family life slide, like a lot of people do. They get caught up in professional lives and let their family life slide. His just has more implications because he's raising a budding villain. Like Melissa is scary. She like that bitch. Whenever she's talking about like, all the emotional manipulation that she does to her classmates, I was just like, this bitch is terrifying. But it's cool. She only attempted suicide, so it's all right. Like, what, bro? Like,
I don't think I've ever seen Roy so upset over a show.
I don't know.
I have.
Well,
I was
justified.
I know it was supposed to be very Robot Chicken like. I guess I expected a more coherent storyline to it. Even if it was Robot Chicken, even if it was Celebrity Match-esque, I expected the storyline to flow more, I guess. And then just some of the jokes really rubbed me the wrong way. And it might be because I'm a parent, you know, and I get some of the humor, but some of it just was like, why? The humor
Because
just
you're a
didn't.
parent and you don't smoke weed. That's what it is. I tell you, you get high and you watch this show, and it's freaking awesome. Those of you that live in legal states, I highly recommend getting your favorite pre-roll, sitting down and watching some M.O.D.O.K because it makes it 10 times better. But those of you in not legal states, you probably hate this show because you can't smoke before you watch it. I don't know. Jesse was making fun of me earlier because I like longer stories and not as many episodic things, where I feel like this show is very episodic with a bit of an overarching story, but not as big a one. And I really enjoyed it. I'm going to go back and watch it again just to find all these little Easter eggs you guys are talking about, because I didn't see. I mean, I saw some, obviously, like the bar and stuff, but it wasn't like I didn't catch a lot of things. So
No, I thought
I don't know.
Sorry, go ahead.
I still think it was fun. That's all. You know, I just think it was made to be
agree.
fun, and if it fails and people don't like it, then no skin off their back. You know, it was a little experiment that Marvel did. I feel like this whole year has been about Marvel experiments. WandaVision, Captain and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki. I feel like those are all experiments. M.O.D.O.K, that's an experiment. They haven't had a Marvel original show on Hulu. This is the first from Disney, because they had a was that from Disney too? Because I thought that was from Fox.
See, I thought
Runaways and the other one was from Fox.
Yeah. I'm thinking like since Disney took over, I think you're correct. I think this is the first one since Disney took over. But yeah, that's not the first Hulu Marvel show.
Right. Just like Disney kind of. But I feel like it's an experiment for them to see how well a Marvel show works on Hulu. And an obscure Marvel show as well, because I feel like they have a lot of plans with obscure things. What if? I mean, that's a risk. Not saying it's a risk. It's not like a solo Star Wars story risk. It's more of like some of the fans might like it, some of the fans might not really like it.
I don't think the what if is a risk though, because they have a what if comic book series. I mean, how do you think we got the Avengers versus the Justice League? I mean, we got Wonder Woman picking up Captain America's hammer at a point. You know, we got Batman and Tony Stark, you know, chumming it up.
I love that it's Captain America's hammer now.
Yeah. Oh shit, Thor's hammer. Yeah. You're right.
No, he keeps that shit. I wouldn't hand that back.
Well, before we go any farther, let's play Jesse's voicemail.
Hey, Marvel Canon Madness, it's Jesse from SBI. I know this isn't my show, but I figured I should call in just so that you know we're all still watching and rooting for you guys, because we are, and we're pretty excited about your move to Wednesday. Well, I am personally. It makes it a lot easier for me to watch. But really quickly, just to jump in, I finished all of M.O.D.O.K. I really enjoyed it, but I think I agree with Roy, the intrepid DM, as far as like the tone of the humor kind of holding the show back from me like really loving it. I mean, I still definitely had laughing out loud moments and I really enjoyed myself. It was just like, this could be a little bit better than it is. And I think, to Roy's point, I think it has to do with the tone of the personal taste thing. So if you're into that, we don't think any less of you. We just don't agree with you. So you guys keep kicking ass at Marvel Canon Madness, and I can't wait to see what you guys do with Loki. All right, peace.
Thank you for that call, Jesse. We always appreciate the voicemails. And if you would like to get in on that, you can call us at 508-93-TWIST and leave us a voicemail. We will play them on the show. And yeah, I 100% agree. The humor missed on a lot of things. I still enjoyed it. It just, maybe in the second season, they'll get a couple better comedic writers. I think they need more. They need to throw Taika Waititi in on this here. Let him come over here and write some of these shows, because I think with the right mind, this show could be over the top incredible.
I don't know. If Taika comes in, we'll end up with a M.O.D.O.K with like massive guns that's punching people through walls.
I think if the writing was better, I could give it more than a 2.
Ooh, ouch.
But
We weren't even gonna rate it, but I guess we're gonna rate it now.
Just in my mind, that's what I was thinking. It's like, yeah. So
I mean, it's
fine. Out of 1 out of 10 M.O.D.O.K chairs, how many chairs does M.O.D.O.K have? Let's go with Chip first.
I give it 7 Iron Thrones.
All right.
I would go 6.5. So we're pretty much right there.
Yeah. And I already gave you mine. He's
bringing that average down.
2 chairs to eat those burritos and toilet lasagna in. That's about it. So
yeah. All right.
It's still better than Thor: The Dark World. So
I would even argue against that now.
Yeah.
So yeah. What do we have left? I have to pull up my notes here. I'm not used to this. I'm a first-time host, guys. Yeah.
That's all right. The last thing that I have over here is our marvelous shout outs for the week.
All right.
We have just the every week we do just a couple shout outs for people around the interwebs and things of that nature. Did you guys have any shout outs this week?
I do have one. Chip, did you have any that you would like to go first?
No, go first. I think I do have one. I'm just trying to find like my full list of names because there's like a chunk of people here.
All right. So as always, the Intrepid DM is my streamer name. I stream a lot. I'm building a great community that making friends, and a amazing streamer, a variety streamer by the name of Let's Play with the Devil.
Nice.
He streams all kinds of stuff. A lot of it has to mainly do with great soundtracks, jazz music in the background to relax to, great conversation, and he gets really into character as he wears a mask. He has horns. He really falls into that character, and that's what drives that channel. So if you have a chance, go check him out. He has his scheduling listed on his page. You can find him at Twitch/Let's Play with the Devil. That's my shout out. So Josh.
My first shout out, actually, I just ran across this guy today. He gave me a follow. It's a band by the name of Home by July. I fell in love. I had to talk about it like right now because I want to get this guy on a TMA show. It was some pop punk. I know a lot of people that I know don't really like the pop punk, but those of you that know me, you know I love that shit. So this band is called Home by July. They're out of Australia. Very, very local still down there, but man, they're fun. They're fun to listen to. If you get a chance, check them out at Home by July on Twitter. They have all of their links there for Spotify and stuff like that. My other shout out was to Randy from the Grolix podcast. He was on our show on TMA last week. Actually, that episode just dropped yesterday. Randy is from Fremont. He's an old friend of mine from a long time ago, and he was one of the first people that I knew that started a podcast, and it kind of inspired me to start a podcast because I was like, well, shit, if he's doing it, I could totally do that. Why not? And you'll hear in the show if you listen to it, just some of the old conversations that we had about podcasting. One thing that he told me back in the day when I had first started this thing out, I had a good Facebook following, but a putrid Twitter following. And the one thing that he told me was, your Twitter game is weak. You need to get better. That's how you can expand. And I never believed him until I actually got on Twitter at Twist My Armcast. Follow me if you'd like. But he was absolutely correct. The amount of people that I've met through on Twitter and connections that we've made and friends that we've made, it's been awesome. I wish I could name all of you off, but thanks to Randy, I worked on my Twitter game, and now I have met so many wonderful people. So check out Grawlix Podcast at Grawlix Podcast, GRAWLIX PODCAST. Do you guys know what Grawlix means? Do you know what that is?
Nope.
So
Enlighten us.
the Grawlix in comics is the symbols that people put in there for swear words. So when a superhero swears in their bubble, that's the Grawlix.
Well,
I didn't know that.
That is an awesome fact.
Yeah,
you will have to tell Randy thank you for enlightening me.
Absolutely, for sure. Chip, what did you get? What did you have?
Okay, so Marvel Legends just revealed like 5 new figs from an upcoming wave. But the interesting thing is the way that they did it. So they sent so like a wave is 8 figures, 7 or 8 figures. What they did this time is sent a content creator, like a toy reviewer. They sent each of them one of the toys from the wave, gave them a specific day to announce it, and each one of these toy reviewers got an advanced copy of the toy and got to review it as the announcement of the toy being released. Super cool.
Nice.
Like, that's like hella cool. Like Hasbro paying attention to content creators, like caring about the community. So I thought that was really cool. So I wanted to give like a shout out, congratulations to at Shartimus Prime. He got to do Cyber, which is an awesome Wolverine villain. Shout out to at your _annoying_friend_car. She got to do Omega Red. The new Omega Red looks dope. It's basically just a repaint of the one we got like a year or two ago, but like it is a clean and crisp repaint. There's been 3 others, but I can't find the names right now. So that's 2 of the 5. So shout out and congratulations on that. Like I would love to get my toy game up to the point where Hasbro notices me, but that is the stuff of dreams.
Awesome.
I'm trying to find a picture here of these new Marvel Legends toys.
I bet if you search,
I believe
Marvel
this
Legends
is it right
Cyber.
here. I believe it's that one. Is it that one?
No, that is the new Age of Apocalypse wave that just got released.
Oh, okay. All right, my bad. We'll put a link. We'll put a link in the show notes to all the creators that did those reviews, for sure.
All right. Well, I think that's a great point to leave off, guys. We've done an amazing podcast tonight. So thank you. I appreciate both of you. You make this so much fun. I just want to say to everyone in chat, thank you for watching. I'm Roy.
I'm Chip.
I'm Josh. We're gonna watch the Eternals trailer.
Have a good night.
We'll talk to you later.
It's beautiful, isn't it? We have watched, unguided. We have helped them progress, unseen them accomplish wonders. Throughout the years, we have never interfered. Until ended when you said good.
Thank you for this.
Oh, you're welcome.
So now that Captain Rogers and Iron Man are both gone, who do you think's gonna lead the Avengers?
I could lead them.